What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another video. And today we got another Miami Dolphin video. Y'all blew the last one up, so I had no choice but to make another one ASAP. And today we're going to look at each of their 8 draft picks and look at some of the best prospect options at each pick. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Starting off, obviously, with their first round pick at 11. Some of these are probably unrealistic. I understand that, but it's the NFL draft. Anything can happen. That's why I gave you 5 options on offense and 5 on defense. Let's start with the offense. My dream pick is Francis Maui Noah out of the U. Keep that boy in the state. He had a unreal playoff run in the playoffs, but I think at 3 to the Cardinals, 6 to the Browns. I think 5 to the Giants. There's all sorts of spots in the top 10 where he could land. So maybe he's not available. My next choice, which also might not be available, would be Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. The only reason I think Tyson could fall to 11 for the Dolphins is because of the injury history. I believe he broke his collarbone and tore his ACL in college. So extensive injury history with Tyson. Some teams really worry about that. Hell, last year I had Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, as a top 5 player on my board. He went like 43rd or 47th or something because of injury. So anything is possible. 3, Cardinal Tate feels like one of the safer options on the board, so I doubt he's available. The Titans, the Browns, the Giants, the Saints, the Chiefs. There's all sorts of spots, but like I said, maybe he doesn't have the highest ceiling. I think he's a high end wide receiver too at the NFL level, so maybe he does fall. But 2 people I think that definitely probably should be there would be my 4 and 5 options with Spencer Fano and Makai Lemon. I personally think Makai Lemon's better. I would just prefer the Dolphins to invest in the trenches. You win championships in the trenches. Having a good offensive line is something Dolphin fans are not familiar with whatsoever. So just build up the right side of the offensive line. James Daniels, Austin Jackson, they both can't stay healthy. I would love Spencer Fano, and Makai Lemon is simply just one of the best players in the draft. He just isn't the fastest and isn't the biggest. So if he falls and they took him at 11, no complaints out of me. Let's jump gears to the defensive side of the ball. Ruben Bain Jr., it feels like after that monstrous championship run, which obviously they fell short, not because of Ruben Bain, Carson Beck. Um, but yeah, Ruben Bain, I just don't think is going to be here regardless if he has short arms. Some scouts have day 2 grades on him. What are we doing? Ruben Bain is clearly a top 3 player in this draft. And it personally, I would take him number 2 overall if I was the New York Jets. So probably not there. Caleb Downs is hard to tell because safeties haven't went top 10 in a long, long time. I know Jamal Adams did it, what, 7 or 8 years ago at this point. But Kyle Hamilton was great. He fell to like 14. Malachi Starks and Nicky Memori last year, I thought were both top 15 players. They both fell out of the top, what, 25? Brian Branch, I thought was a top 10 player. He went like 45th to the Lions. So safeties just naturally don't go high in the draft. But in such a weak draft class, I think this could be the year Caleb Downs breaks that curse, if you will, and goes top 5 to the Giants or 10 to the Bengals. So my first realistic option would probably be Mansour Delane. I love Mansour Delane to death. You saw him pictured in the cover. Mansour Delane's just a monster. He's so consistent. You can trust him. Put him on either side of the boundary. You feel fine with him. But a great year at LSU. He's not slow. He's not small. He just isn't really an elite athlete, and he's not huge. So maybe he's there at 11. It seems like in a lot of mock drafts he is. So if Mansour Delane's the first round pick, I might be doing cartwheels on live. Arvell Reese, I tossed in here just because of maybe teams pass on him because they don't know what he is. If he's there at 11, I mean, yeah, take him, but I just don't think he will be. And I mean, Jordan Brooks is one of the best middle linebackers in football. Tyrell Dodson, solid. So I think Jeff Hafley could use him very uniquely to like a Micah Parsons, which would be really fun. I just really, out of every name I listed, I don't think he'd be here whatsoever. And David Bailey, I tossed in at 5. I like David Bailey a lot as a player. There's a lot of concerns about David Bailey as a human. A couple years ago, he curb stomped someone, just stepped on their head during a game, and then he hit a cameraman either earlier this year or last year. So he seems to have quite the temper. I don't know if that's how you want to start a rebuild or retool, whatever you want to call it, with someone with those type of character concerns. But let's move to the second round at 43. Once again, you're going to see on all these slides, maybe some guys go earlier than this, but if I think there's any type of chance they could potentially fall, I included them. So once again, we'll start offense. My number one target would be Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. I know he's the left guard, and obviously, I mean, he could play left guard for the Dolphins because I think Jonas Savaiinaya is better at right guard anyways. So you're really just upgrading James Daniels, who I think you could move on from this offseason because, I mean, he played 3 snaps last year on a 3-year contract you gave him. So don't know if you love that or trust it with a new staff coming in. My number 2 through 4 options are all big wide receivers, but all very different. I mean, Jeremy Bernard, I guess I'll wait on Bernard since he's 4. Chris Bell. The big thing with Chris Bell is he tore his ACL in November. So he's going to miss a lot of the offseason. My thing is, this is a multiple year type of thing that it's going to take the Dolphins multiple years to get back to competing. 2027 to me is the very earliest they could become a 500 team again. I think next year they're going to take a slight bump. Chris Bell was for sure a first round pick at minimum. I think he was a top 25 pick before he tore his ACL. So if he's there at 43, why not let it fly? Elijah Surratt, you've been missing a big wide receiver on the outside with good hands and just consistent since Devontae Parker left in 2022. So I would love the idea of Elijah Surratt opposite of Waddle on the boundary. Jeremy Bernard, similar. I think Bernard's just going to be a very solid wide receiver too at the NFL level. So if he's here at 43, I'd take him. I mean, the dude does not drop the ball. He gets open. He's just not a big play threat. And then 5, I tossed in Caleb Tiernan. He is a natural left tackle, which obviously he would not play for us with Patrick Ball. He's a good enough athlete to where I think he can make it on the work on the right side. He's 6'7", 315 pounds, or 325, one of the two. I think Monroe Freeling is the 315. I think he's 325. So a very big guy, good athlete. He's just got shorter arms, so maybe he could fall here to 43. But I would also like that pick because, like I said, James Daniels, Austin Jackson, in no world are they long term solutions for us. Hop into the defensive side of the ball. All your corners are either free agents or coming off season-ending injuries outside of Jason Marshall, and I truly am not over-exaggerating. Shit, I mean, ideally, you're starting 3, Rasul Douglas, Jack Jones, and Cater Coe, who are all free agents, and in a new scheme, I can't promise they would be back. Jeff Hafley has shown a liking to smaller corners. Granted, it didn't really work last year in Green Bay because Keyshawn Nixon just isn't a CB1, and Nate Hobbs, I think, was hurt a good bit. But Keith Abney was arguably the best corner in the nation this past season in college football. So if he's here at 43, likely because he's like 5'9", 5'10", 190 pounds, I don't care if he's a nickel corner. I know you're getting a damn good one at that. So could care less about the size. I'm under the mindset of just get good football players. Number 2, I have Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I think he could be a sneaky first-round pick. To me, he's clearly the second best safety in this class. He's so good in coverage. He's lengthy. 6'2", 210, shows a real strong effort to tackle, even though the missed tackle rate was higher than you would like. But I love Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, and if you compare him with Dante Trader and Minka, I would do it in a heartbeat. 3, Akeem Mesidor. Akeem Mesidor might be the best player out of all 10 of these guys. My only problem is, like I said, this is going to take multiple years to fix. Akeem Mesidor is already 25 years old. I think he'd be a tremendous fit in Jeff Hafley's defense, but he's a one contract type of player. Like after his rookie contract's up, he'll be 29, almost 30 years old. Like, do you re-sign a guy like that? And especially, do you spend a second round pick on a guy like that? I don't know. For a team that's competitive, I think it makes a lot of sense. For the Dolphins, maybe not so much. 4, Chris Johnson, another guy, arguably one of the best corners in the nation this year, if not the best. Had a unreal year at San Diego State, excuse me. The one concern is he played boundary his whole career at college. I just don't know if that's gonna. It sounds like he's sub 6 foot, maybe 5'11". He's only 180 pounds, so maybe he is better suited playing in the nickel. But he's a damn good football player. So once again, I don't really care. I would take him. And my 5th option would be Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, another very solid safety, very good tackler, does not miss tackles, very smart, instinctive. So if Dylan Thieneman was the pick at 43, once again, I am a fan. I like all 10 of these options, especially the defensive ones. All right. For the third round options, as you know, we picked 75, 87, and 90. I just gave you a bunch of options at each position with all these picks. So it's really like mix your match. First, we'll start with playmakers, starting with wide receiver and corner. Once again, start wide receiver Chris Brazzell the second. I don't know if he makes it to 75, and he damn sure does not make it to 87 because the dude is a hell of a player. Very good long range speed going vertical. Arguably the best vertical threat in the whole draft. 6'5", 200. A very good height. I'd like to see him add maybe 15, 20 more pounds on that frame. But yeah, I mean, the dude doesn't drop the ball. He could be better in contested catches considering he's 6'5", but still a very good receiving option. Next up, we got Jacoby Lane, another boundary guy, very physical. Once again, I don't know if Jacoby Lane's available at this point, but if he was, I'd have a hard time not taking him. 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds, very strong. If the ball's up there, Jacoby Lane's coming down with it. He's just not that polished as a route runner, and he's kind of, to me, a one trick pony. Like, he's going deep. That's where you get him the ball. Ted Hurst at 3. I watched some more Ted Hurst film this morning. I love the dude. He is such a good player. 6'3", 185, so a little lighter considering how tall he is. So once again, a guy like Brazzell add some more weight and we feel better. Ted Hurst just playmaker. Really good speed on him for how big he is. Just get him the ball anywhere and he will make it work. Tyler Bell is a smaller receiver, so the only one out of this group. He's just a playmaker. He is a little older, 24 years old. 5'11", 190, I believe. So another small guy, which I'm sure Dolphin fans won't love. He's different though. He's kind of like a Makai Lemon. Like just get him the ball. He's breaking tackles. He's making plays. You just got to get the football in his hands and let him do the rest. So if he was the pick at 75, 87, 90, all three I think would be justifiable. Malachi Fields is interesting. He is very slow, but he is very big. I mean, he's like 6'4", 225. He's damn near almost a tight end. What did oh my God, who said it? Steve Smith? I can't remember who said it. Uh Kelvin Benjamin's a biscuit away from being a tight end. That's Malachi Fields too. I mean, he is a big dude, strong, great at the catch point. Like I said, just not very explosive at all, and he is pretty damn slow. So you really worry if that will be able to translate at the NFL level, just being a jump ball receiver, because those are normally the ones, in my opinion, that bust the most. All right, hopping over to the cornerback position. You got three boundaries and two nickels. Starting off number one, D'Lo Pons, obviously a nickel, 5'8", 175, might be the smallest guy in the class. Does not matter. He is a dog. He's got that dog right here where it matters most. I don't care. I think he could be a second round pick, he's definitely going to be a top 50 player on my big board, maybe even top 40. So I could care less about the size. If he did fall because of the size, I promise you the Dolphins, if they took him at one of these third round picks, are getting a damn good nickel corner. The next three I'll talk about just in a group. Julian Neal, Davison Igbinosun, and Dalen Everett, all boundary corners. Julian Neal is the biggest out of them, 6'2", 210. Davison Igbinosun's also 6'2", but a little lighter at 190. And Dalen Everett, I think, is in the middle somewhere, like 6'1", 205. So all three guys can play on the boundary. My personal favorite is Neal because of the size. Really good tackler. Once he gets his hands on the receiver, tight end, running back, quarterback, whatever, they're not getting away from him. He gets them to the ground. Igbinosun is probably the best in coverage and shows the most upside. Just struggles with tackling. I believe 16% missed tackle rate, maybe 12 if I'm being generous. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but tackling is his one issue. And Dalen Everett, I think, is just like the good medium between all of them. He's just a really solid player. And then Keontae Scott at Miami. He's got some Akeem Mesidor, funny enough, both U players. Problems, he's older prospect, and he's only a nickel. So I don't know when Keontae Scott goes, being 25 years old and only 5'10", 190. I think Keontae Scott could actually be very good at safety as well. So that intrigues me a lot because the Dolphins obviously could use help at both spots. So, yeah, I would like to see Keontae Scott be used up top and in the nickel on a defense, not on the boundary, though. All right, on to the next position. We got the trenches. We got offensive line and edge rusher. Blake Miller, I don't know if he makes it to 75. I really don't think he makes it past 75 if you pass on him there. So he would be my top option for the offensive line. Really athletic right tackle, just needs to polish up his game. The good thing is maybe Austin Jackson is the bridge to that. Knowing Austin Jackson, he'll probably play a good bit as a rookie. So be fine on taking the flyer on Blake Miller and trying to develop him. Chase Besantis and Keelan Rutledge, both guards at 2 and 3. I like both of them a ton. Besantis, a natural left guard. Rutledge, off the top of my head, I guess I could have did this earlier. I'll just check real quick. I cannot remember off the top of my brain. I believe he's a left guard. No, right guard. Good thing I checked. So Rutledge would be the natural right tack or right guard, excuse me, for you in that offense. His win rate is insane. It's like 99.1. When that dude gets his hands on you, you're not going anywhere. So I'm a big fan of Rutledge and a player I've really started to like a lot more. Then 4 and 5 are kind of just flyers on tackle, starting with Mad Max because I cannot pronounce his last name still. Um, believe he started playing football in community college, so very new to the sport. But he's just a hell of an athlete. Good frame, 6'5", 320. He's just a very raw player. So it's going to take probably multiple years to develop him. And Isaiah World, funny enough, he was listed at like 6'8" at Oregon. He's 6'5". I don't know how that happens. I think he could be an effective swing tackle for you and maybe contend to start at right tackle. Jumping to the defensive side of the ball, Dave Jackus would probably be my first choice at edge rusher. I really like the frame, 6'5", 270. He's pretty young, and I think Jeff Hafley would really like a player like that. And same thing goes for Deni Dennis Sutton out of Penn State. You see a trend with all these guys. They're all over 265 pounds, which I did that because Chop is like 255 and pretty much still a DPR at this point. Still has to grow a ton. So I wanted three down players that could offer something against the run and also offer some size off the edge. Zion Young, I think, is probably the best out of these names, but he got arrested in December for a DUI. So I don't know if that's the type of player you want to add to your locker room when you're trying to set a culture. Anthony Lucas out of USC, very effective edge rusher. Like I said, good size as well, can set the edge. And LT Overton, I included him because I think he's the home run out of these. Like, if you can develop LT Overton, which he has really struggled to do over the past 2 years at Alabama, I mean, you could get a monster. He's still super young, 21 years old, needs to grow as a pass rusher. I think he's most effective with his hand in the dirt. So we'll just have to see what they choose to do with LT there. And finally, the last option for the third round, I got tight ends, safeties, and one linebacker I had to toss in there. Starting with the tight ends, keep it simple. I don't think Max Clare is going to be available at 75, but if he was, it's a layup of a pick. I think he's by far the second best tight end in the class. Eli Stowers, I think, fits Mike McDaniel's offense probably better than whoever the new offense coordinator will be. He's like a Evan Ingram, just a big slot wide receiver. Justin Jolie is different. He's 6'3", 260, very good at the catch point, does not drop the ball. And I feel like he was playing at like 245, 250, but he weighed in at 263 the last time he got weighed, I believe. So that is it's damn near like a fullback size, or it's a very unique build, but he is a dog at the catch point, so I don't care. Michael Trigg. I believe Michael Trigg has some character concerns. He's older. He had a 12% drop rate this past season at Baylor. He's got really good hands, though, a good catch radius. I know a good hands and 12% drop rate. A lot of it was just focus drops. You can normally get past those. He's not a body catcher. He catches with his hands. And like I said, he can go down to his ankles and catch. He can go up to the ceiling and catch the ball. Then Jack Injuries, he would be my fifth option out of all these guys, but a very solid tight end for Texas. Moving on to the defensive backs, AJ Halsey really intrigues me as like a box safety hybrid for Jeff Hafley at that unique size, 5'11", 225. Very good tackler, so I would like to see what Hafley could do with him. Genesis Smith, freak athlete. I mean, that is what you're getting there with Genesis Smith. Very poor tackler. He makes a real effort to tackle, but he misses a lot of tackles. In coverage, he was pretty good. He gave up a high catch rate, but I mean, he didn't give up a lot of yards, so don't really care about that. And Kamari Ramsey. Kamari Ramsey, I think, is definitely better suited at safety than nickel like he played at USC this past year. So if I'm taking Ramsey, I want that 6'1", 210 size up at safety for me. Zaki Wheatley, I think, is a really fun player you could just add to the safety room. Another guy I feel like offers pretty good size at the safety position at 6'3", 200. He is an older prospect, though. And Deontay Lawson, the fifth option at linebacker. Blitz. And not he's like a Tyrell Dotson replacement. Blitz, blitz, blitz. Do not let him sit in coverage at all. He's terrible in coverage. All right, on to the fourth round. Starting off, number one option to me for the fourth round, if you pass on all those good tight ends up to this point, Eli Raridan, I think, is a phenomenal option out of Notre Dame. Very good size, 6'7", 250, great athlete. He just doesn't have a lot of production. He had no touchdowns this past season at Notre Dame. So if he's available at this point, I would take him in a heartbeat. Ryan Parker out of Duke is played right tackle at Duke. I think he's a guard at the NFL level, so I wouldn't mind taking him, letting him contend to, I mean, arguably win the right guard spot if James Daniels isn't there. And I got two receivers at 3 and 4. If you somehow don't come out with a receiver in the first 5 picks for you, I think Bryce Lance and CJ Daniels would be very good options. Bryce Lance is slender at I believe like 6'3", 190, so add some more weight. A lot of these big guys I'd like to see add 10 or 15 more pounds. Bryce Lance is a pretty fluid athlete, man. Got good hands, very good body control. That's what I was most impressed by. With his North Dakota State, if you can't figure out, younger brother of Trey Lance. So the NFL gene runs in the body. Hopefully, he has a better career than what his brother has had so far. And CJ Daniels, homer pick, he can play in Miami's weather condition, which I think a lot of playmakers can. But just keep him at home. CJ Daniels, really solid prospect. He'll probably be late teens, early 20s on my big board. Then number 5, John Eric Sullivan in his interview, he said, if not every year, it will be every other year we add a quarterback to this room. Some people won't like that. I don't mind it. I mean, take shots. You got to take shots on quarterbacks to find potentially like a Brock Purdy, a Tom Brady. Not saying those are likely. A Dak Prescott, a Russell Wilson. You got to throw darts on day 3. He's not saying, "Hey, I'm taking a quarterback the first or second round every year." That would obviously be idiotic. But the Dolphins have neglected adding any type of quarterback in the draft really in the past 10 to 15 years. So I'm happy. Garrett Nussmeier was once thought to be during the summer before this season the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, things went about as bad as possible, and now he's probably a day 3 pick. If he's here at 111, take a shot on the Nuss bus. Not the biggest guy in the world, but I do think he can command offense. Things just went sour at LSU. Drew Aller out of Penn State, I really liked last year. I thought he was probably a first round pick. He goes back to school, plays like shit, gets hurt, and now here we are on day 3. That's a guy I wouldn't mind taking a shot on either. Going to the defensive side of the ball, Malachi Lawrence is my number 1 option. I love Malachi Lawrence to death. Pretty good athlete, good production at UCF, and very long arms, which I think Packers historically have shown a liking to RAS score guys and length guys. So 35-inch arms for an edge rusher. The threshold's normally like 33. So I think a player like Malachi Lawrence, the Dolphins would be definitely intrigued by, maybe even in the 3rd round. Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina, I definitely think could be an option for them as well. Safety nickel hybrid at, like I said, South Carolina. Good frame, 6'1", 210. So I wouldn't mind adding him whatsoever to the secondary. Malik Muhammad's like a nickel boundary hybrid. I don't know which one he ends up playing at Texas. A little on the smaller side. So if he is available at this point, another guy just take a flyer on. Linebacker Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. Shut the door, please. Out of Pittsburgh, very productive his past year at Pittsburgh. He's just undersized. That's the only reason he'd be here. 6'1", 220. Not the biggest linebacker in the world, but once again, if he's available, I would take him. And Derek Moore to end out the 4th round options. 3-down player out of Michigan. 6'3", 265. Good frame on him. And like I said, good run defender. That's what I like to pair with Chop Robinson. Let's get into these last 2 picks. Going to the 5th round pick. The best player to me here is Jaden Roberts, but I put the number 1 option as Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback. You don't see a lot of Taylon Greens come through the draft cycle. If you took him in the 4th round, I wouldn't be too mad. Is he a good football player at this point in his career? No, not really. But he's 6'6", he's 235 pounds, and he almost ran for 1,000 yards, and he's very athletic. So, I mean, if you take a flyer on a guy like that, I can't blame you. If you think you can develop him, by all means, go for it. Jaden Roberts out of Alabama, I would just like as a backup guard at this point in the draft. I think he could contend for a starting spot too. So good for him too. 6'4", 325. He's not small at all either. Antonio Williams, Colby Young, 2 opposites. Antonio Williams on the smaller side, 5'11", 190. Colby Young's like 6'4", 215 from Georgia. So it's really pick your poison. I think they both could be good wide receiver 2s at the NFL, or at minimum, good, very good 3s at the NFL level. Austin Barber, I just tossed in here. If you want to take a flyer at this point in the draft, added tackle, I think he showed a lot of upside, so maybe that's your choice. Ethan Burke out of Texas. Now, this is like a freak athlete to add. I mean, Ethan Burke is huge. 6'6", I believe, 260, 265. I mean, this is your, once again, I keep talking about him. I want a three down type of edge rusher that can defend the run. Braden Stooks, I don't mind taking a shot on. Maybe you have something there on the boundary. Jalen Husky as well. Don't mind taking a flyer on at safety. Think he's shown a lot of promise. Mohamed Torre out of Miami, very effective as a blitzer for the Hurricanes. So if he's here, maybe you take a shot on him. And Vincent Anthony, I decided to toss in here just because, I mean, at this point, like, why not? I mean, where's he even at? Am I blind? Hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, that's right. Okay, okay, never mind. Yeah, another very big edge rusher you could add to the team. Sorry about that. All right, let's go on to the seventh round pick, the final pick for the Dolphins. Caleb Douglas and Noah Thomas, both big wide receivers. If you somehow have made it to your last pick and still don't have one, I think they could be options. Oscar Delp was a guy that was once thought to go in, like, I feel like the day two range last year, and now it's just fallen off a cliff for him. So I wouldn't mind him. Demetrius Crownover out of Texas A&M, I think could be a very fun option to develop as a right tackle. Then Sawyer Robertson out of Baylor, maybe he makes it here. I think he'll probably be gone by now, but if he was, another bigger quarterback to take a shot on. And now the defense, Ephesians Prysock, one of the coolest names in the class. If you want to add some versatility at corner, that is your option. Some good size balls. Wade Woodis and Kendall Daniels at linebacker, fun, athletic, big players. And safety, I'm blanking on his name. What is his first name? Because I Robert Spears Jennings and out of Oklahoma, obviously, and Xavier Nwankpa out of Iowa, two bigger safeties, 6'1", 6'2", good weight on them. So other guys you can take a flyer on. If you notice the trend with me in this video, it's became very clear. I do not want to see stuff drafted that we do not need. I don't want to see running back, and I definitely don't want to see interior defensive line taken this year. You have so many needs. You have 30 free agents. You probably won't bring back 75% of them. Use your picks wisely on positions of need. I don't care if you took three corners, two tight ends, two wide receivers. I don't care. Just get more players at position of need, please. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. And peace out. Until next time.